All right, so I figured you guys would find this video interesting. This user over on the Dead by Daylight subreddit, JoyDrop, made a bunch of tier lists determining the likelihood how often a killer is to camp, tunnel, BM, slug, run full meta, DC, and so on. And I think the results are a little shocking, but maybe not that much. So first up, we got the pick rate according to this user's matches. So the top 7 most played is Wesker, Blight, Hillbilly, Chucky, Unknown, Legion, and Wraith. And the top 7 least played are Singularity, Freddy, Hag, Trickster, Dredge, Artist, and Twins. No real surprise there. That kind of lines up with the Nightlight stats. And then you got the likelihood to camp based on the 1800 games, right? Dracula has a 77% likelihood of camping. There's a 77% chance that Dracula camps, which is insane, honestly. I think it's mainly due to the fact that he's got his Hellfire, which he can double tap survivors with. I mean, you'll notice that Pyramid Head is down here too. He's at 51%, so he's really high, but he also has a double tap ability. So that's why I think Draculas do it so much, maybe. Not to mention Draculas, I just feel like are more toxic in general. Then rounding out your top 5 for most likely to camp, you have Trickster at 72, Knight at 70, Pig at 55, and Twins at 53. You got Doctor and Sadako at the very bottom, the least killers likely to camp at 15 and 18% respectively. And then, of course, I had to bring up Huntress. She's at 45%, kind of middle of the road, almost a 50-50 shot if she camps or not. Then we move on to likelihood to tunnel. And we got Dracula again at the top spot, 62% chances of tunneling. So, you know, it's a little bit more than a 50-50 shot. You know, it's a 60-40 split on if he tunnels or not. So chances are pretty good he's going to camp. Chances are pretty good he's going to tunnel. And then rounding out your top 5, you have Ghostface, Blight, Spirit, and Pig. And then the least likely to tunnel is Doctor, which is very surprising to me. So Doctor's the least likely to tunnel and the least likely to camp. And then Huntress, of course, 33%. So, you know, chances are pretty good she's not going to camp, but, you know, it's like 20% off the 50-50 mark, but yeah. Then we got likelihood to run full meta. Full meta meaning 3 or more slowdown perks, gen regression perks, right? Dracula again at the top spot, 60%. And then the top 5 is Night, Blight, Spirit, and Plague. And then all the way at the bottom is Bubba at 6%. And then you got Huntress at 18%, pretty close to the bottom. And Doctor's actually at 84% or 34%, excuse me, which makes sense because, you know, what else are you going to do on Doctor, honestly? Damn near, like, gen regression is pretty much his thing, you know what I mean, with his hard skill checks, right? That's what everybody builds on him. Seeing Huntress down this low doesn't really surprise me because aura reading is her best. So usually people will run 3 aura reading and 1 slowdown like pain res, so not a real shocker to me there. But a lot of her most popular builds on Nightlight are full aura reading too, so. And then Billy and Bubba don't surprise me either because they always have 1 perk dedicated to Windows. So if they have 1 other perk that's not related to gen regression, like an aura perk, then it's immediately going to be considered not full meta by this person in particular. Then you got likelihood to BM, right? So BM meaning humping, excessive hitting on hook, or bleeding out survivors when unnecessary. Dracula again at the number 1 spot with a 40% chance to BM. And then your top 5 are Trickster at 36, Scully at 36, Blight and Clown at 34 and 30% respectively. And Trapper is all the way at the bottom with a 5% chance of BMing. Kind of shocking, to be honest. I don't know. But now that I think about it, looking back in my memory, I don't really ever remember a Trapper BMing. And then you got Huntress at 14%. So really low, not at the bottom, but yeah. And then Doctor, 15% too. It seems like Doctor Man's like some of the best around, you know what I mean? When it comes to not being toxic, not slugging, not tunneling. And then you got the likelihood to be chill. So being chill meaning running meme builds, joking with survivors, letting them go, and so on. And you have Wesker at the number 1 spot, which is actually kind of crazy for me. He's sitting at 28%. A lot of Weskers I run into, I wouldn't say they're normally toxic, but they're very, very sweaty, like very, very try hard, like full meta comp Weskers. I don't think I've ever ran into a single friendly Wesker, one that's ever like let me go or anything like that. So, you know, that's pretty interesting. Then your top 5, rounding that off, are Artist, Oni, Huntress, and Doctor. Doctor's another shocking one to see as a chill. I don't think I've ever seen a chill Doctor, honestly. You know, this is just one person's stats, but yeah. And then you got all the way at the bottom, a 1% chance to be chill, Skull Merchant. That's crazy. And then Dracula's at a 4%, Nemesis is at a 4%. Those pretty much line up, you know. And Vecna being at 6% too. I would put Vecna at 0%, honestly. I don't think I've ever seen a chill Vecna either. Then you got likelihood to DC. So Dredge is the most likely killer to DC at 20%. You got Sadako at 18, Hag at 17, Vecna at 16, and Twins at 15. And then all the way at the bottom with a 0% likelihood to DC is Singularity. I think Singularity mains are just happy to be playing the game, honestly. Really. They win, lose, sweaty, swifts, whatever. They're just happy to be there. Then you got Dracula at 6% likelihood to DC and Huntress at 8. So yeah. And then the last stats, this is kind of just the criteria, right? So what they define as camping. You can check this out if you want to. I'm not going to go through all of it, but their criteria for camping is pretty much what I would go with. You know, proxy camping, staying around the hook, tunneling, stuff like that, going all out just after that one survivor and so on. So yeah, I just seen this post on the DBD Reddit and I had to show it off to you guys because I thought the info was very interesting. Far and away, it seems like Dracula players are the most toxic by far. They're the most likely to camp, they're the most likely to tunnel, they're the most likely to run full meta, which isn't really a, you know, toxic thing, but they're also the most likely to BM and one of the least likely to be chill. And a pretty low DC rate, but you know, it's still there. But yeah, anyways, that's it for this video. I just wanted to bring this up because I thought it was super interesting to see how toxic Dracula players are, I guess, and kind of see where my main or your main maybe sits at on this tier list as a general, you know, rule. 1,800 games is a lot for one person to track, so huge shout out to Joy Drops. This is actually insane that they made these many tier lists and tracked all these killers. So yeah, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe to that good stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next one.